like on YouTube and TikTok. Yeah. I'm on a boat, tour boat, so I'm waiting to leave, and it's nice weather, so I go on tour boat at Larry, Salford, Quyes. Beautiful.
Please take a moment to listen to this short safety message. In the unlikely event of an emergency, by announcement or a crew member, please listen carefully to any instructions given. Front and rear of the vessel and 2 exit points on either side. Toilets are located at the back. Smoking and vaping are not permitted at any time during your tour. Please refrain from using your mobile phones during your cruise. While you are free to talk amongst yourselves, please show consideration for other passengers who are listening to the commentary. You are joining us at Salford Quay, formerly known as the Manchester Docks, even though it's actually in Salford. The building to the right of us is the Larry Theatre and Art Gallery, a key part of the regeneration of this former dockland. It was opened in 2000 by Queen Elizabeth II. The theatre with surroundings, appearing like a ship, blending into the skyline across the water. It's been described as Salford's not quite Guggenheim due to its similarity to the famous Spanish Museum. It is named after 20th century painter L.S. Lowry, famous for his matchstick style. Salford Quays is linked to the new home of ITV Studios and the Coronation Street set on the Trafford side of the canal by the Media City footbridge, which spans 65 metres and weighs 450 tonnes. ITV and Coronation Street moved here in 2013, bringing one of the UK's most iconic television shows into the heart of the Media City. Coronation Street first aired on the 9th of December 1960 and holds the title of the world's longest running TV soap. It was created by Tony Warren, who based the show off life in inner city Salford, a neighbourhood of tightly packed streets, close-knit families and everyday drama. The fictional street was inspired by real places and people, just a few miles from where you are now. Year construction. From this terminal basin, the locks lower ships a total of 18 metres, a larger chamber for ocean-going ships, and a smaller, narrower lock for tugs and coasters. Adjacent to the lock are a set of 3 graving docks, which could accommodate ocean-going ships of up to 5. Resurrected it as a shipyard in 1987. Trawlers, cargo vessels, dredgers, finally closed in 2007, with their plate rollers, guillotines, presses, and other heavy machinery being dismantled and moved to Liverpool. The Ford Motor Company opened a plant to assemble the Model T, and by 1915 over 100 American firms had moved in. During the Second World War, Trafford Park played a key role in aircraft production, building engines for Spitfires, Mosquitoes and Lancaster bombers. Home to Manchester liners. It was also the largest of the docks, capable of holding up to 10 ocean liners or large container ships. 4 here in Salford and 4 at Pomona. Of these, Only number 1 dock at Pomona is actually within the Manchester City boundary. Docks 7, 8 and 9 on the Salford side have now been sealed off from the main canal. The water inside has since been cleaned and the area is now home to a water sports centre which hosts activity 2011. The studio complex is known as Dock 10, a name that comes from 100-year-old plans to build a new dock on this site, which were abandoned with the outbreak of the First World War. New Barnes Racecourse stood on the site of what is now Media City and Dock 9 from 1868, hosting some of the most prestigious flat racing in the country, and regularly attracting crowds of 80,000. The canal had been open for nearly a decade when the Ship Canal Company decided they wanted the land for a new dock. After got it, and the new barns closed in 1902. The Goodbye Consolation Plate was won by legendary Lester Piggott in front of 20,000 spectators. Just outside the Lowry, at the end of 9 Dock, you can see the sculpture where the Viking sailed from here. The piece celebrates the global reach of the Manchester Ship Canal, a man-made waterway connecting Salford to the stunning landscapes and wildlife of distant lands. Their sense of wonder reflects the excitement once felt by Salfordians as bananas, citrus fruits, and tea arrived across the lake. The striking building ahead of us is the Imperial War Museum North, designed by architect Daniel Leveskin in the deconstructivist style. He imagined it as a constellation of 3 interlocking shards, each representing a fragment of a globe shattered by conflict. The museum explores how modern warfare has affected people and society. It opened in July 2002 and remains one of the most recognisable buildings along the canal. The large expanse of water ahead of us is the terminal basin of the Manchester, served as the central hub of dock activity, with entrances to docks 6, 7 and 8. At its peak, this was the 3rd busiest port in the country.
There's Manchester United Stadium behind me.
Site from the canal is Old Trafford Football Ground, home to Manchester United since 1910. Between 1941 and 1949, the club shared Main Road with local rivals Manchester City after the stadium was damaged during the Second World War. Today, it is one of the largest stadiums in the UK, having undergone several expansions during the 1990s and 2000s. Its record attendance, however, was back in 1939, when 76,962 spectators watched an FA Cup semi-final between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Grimsby Town. And is the red pedestrian bridge you can see across the dock. This was part of the Manchester Ship Canal Railway, a system of trains and tracks built to support the construction of the canal. At its peak, it became the largest privately owned railway in Britain. The factory became known for producing Ivy soap, sold for just 3 pennies and famous for floating in water, a small innovation that helped it grow in popularity. In 1938, the site was acquired by the American company Colgate-Palmolive, who continued producing soaps and toiletries here for many decades. The factory remained a major employer in Salford until its closure in 2007, when production moved overseas. The site was later redeveloped and renamed the Soapworks in honour of its industrial past. Today, it's home to a range of businesses, but the name and the preserved red brick chimney serve as a reminder of Salford's soap-making heritage.
There's cattle and some trick.
The idea for the Manchester Ship Canal was born when Manchester was at the heart of the Industrial Revolution. Built on the success of the cotton trade, the city's engineering and chemical industries soon expanded and diversified. By 1935, Manchester was described as, without challenge, the first in the world. But the cost of transporting goods through the port of Liverpool and via the railway was high. In some cases, it was even cheaper to move goods through the docks at Hull. The business community in Manchester pushed for a solution, a canal that would bypass Liverpool and bring ocean-going ships 40 miles inland directly to the city. The conditions were tough and dangerous. Workers dug and shifted earth with picks, shovels and wheelbarrows, loading it into waiting wagons. Over the course of the canal's construction, it's estimated that around 1,100 navvies lost their lives. In 1971, Richard Arkwright opened the world's first steam-powered textile mill on Miller Street. Though initially inefficient, steam power marked the beginning of mass production. By 1871, more than 30% of the world's cotton passed through Manchester, earning it the nickname Cottonopolis.
Look at this. So pretty. There's the bridge.
A local publican and champion oarsman who became a national hero. He was awarded the Albert Medal for saving more than 50 people from the polluted waters of the River Irwell in the 19th century, often diving in fully clothed and without hesitation. The bridge also marks the boundary between the Manchester Ship Canal and the River Irwell. To becoming the tallest building, with towers rising up to 69 stories. Once part of the industrial canal landscape, it has been transformed to shift from shipping and industry to modern urban growth. Alongside developments like Deansgate Square, it's one of the reasons that the city's skyline is sometimes nicknamed Manhattan. Studios, a major new cultural venue and the permanent home of Battery International and Manchester International Festival. Designed by the architectural firm OMA, led by Rem Koolhaas, it's a £200 million art centre created for large-scale performance, theatre and installation work. It includes a flexible warehouse-style space with a capacity of up to 5,000 people and a 2,000-seat theatre pass through here as well. The river, which was once the main transport route, began to take a back seat. This stretch became home to a pig market with a brick pig ramp linking it directly to the railway. Over time, Water Street filled with sawmills, chemical works, refuse incinerators and boat yards, shifting from water-based trade to a rail-connected industry. The brick arches along this stretch of wall are a remnant of the riverside infrastructure the pub was once part of. At the height of the flood, water rose to just below the arch of the bridge behind us, a stark reminder of how the River Irwell came after Salford's heroic oarsmen.